Hi and welcome to your 18th iOS programming tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to save and load data and particular text within an iOS application. This can be useful in a number of scenarios, and what we're going to be doing today is creating an application. There'll be a text field. The user can enter some text. When the application closes, the text will be automatically saved, and then when they load up the application again, the text will still be there. Normally what you notice would happen if you tried to do this is that the text would go away essentially, and when you load up the application it was gone. So there's a few things that this is good for. One is state restoration, so that you can save what your app is doing at a particular time when it's closed, so that when the user goes back to it, they're at the current place that they were before. And there are other ways to do this, but NSUserDefaults, which is what we're using today to save and load data, is a very useful way. It's also useful for passing data between views. Anyway, let's get started. So open up Xcode and create a new Xcode project. I'm just going to call mine NSUserDefaults, NSUserDefaults saving data, as that's what we're pretty much doing. And NSUserDefaults is iOS's way of saving data. Organization name, company, bundle, class, prefix, and devices, again, are all up to you, and it doesn't really make a difference to this application. So click Next and find a location to save your project, and then click Create. We'll start in main.storyboard by adding a text field where the user can enter the text that they wish to save. So add a text field, and I'll just make mine slightly bigger. And then we need to hook up an outlet for this text field so that the user, we can get the text from the text field so as to allow us to access that text and save that text. So go into your assistant editor, again that little tuxedo icon in the top right corner. Make sure automatic is selected and viewController.h. Then click on your text field, and after the add interface line in viewController.h, add a opening curly bracket and press enter. Xcode will insert the closing curly bracket. Then right click and drag on the text field and drag it in between the two curly brackets. Let's just call this text field. Then click connect. Now go back into your single view editor and into viewController.m. In here we need to add a couple of things. The first thing we need to do is add void viewDidAppear and void viewDidDisappear. Well, we don't really need to add void viewDidAppear, but it's always useful to do so. And we could instead do viewWillAppear, and then we won't have any problems with the text appearing after the application's loaded. What viewDidAppear and viewWillAppear are essentially when the application opens, or this particular view opens, which is in this case the application. So when the application opens, viewWillAppear is called upon. So any code you put inside viewWillAppear happens when the application opens. Any code you put inside viewWill or viewDidDisappear happens when the application, like literally milliseconds before it closes. So let's add -void viewWillAppear bool animated, and then add an opening and closing curly bracket. And then underneath that method, not inside of it, type void viewWillDisappear bool animated. And again do your curly brackets. We can ignore viewDidLoad, as we won't be using that. That's only called every time the application pretty much quits and then reloads, but we want the text to stay there all the time. So inside viewWillAppear we need, let's start in viewWillDisappear. When the application is about to close, we need to save the text of the text field. So let's create an NS string, and we'll call this text of text field equals textfield.text. So that's just creating a string where we've saved our text field text. Now we need to actually save this string here into the phone's memory. To do this, open two square brackets and type NSUserDefaults standard user defaults. Then close that first set of square brackets, and then inside the second set of square brackets type set object text of text field for key, and then add a semicolon, and then for the key to add talking mark, and my text. This is essentially a string of key, but type ahead won't appear if you need to reuse the key, and I'll explain all the code in a moment, so don't worry about it for now. Let's just enter in the code, make sure it works, and then I'll explain it all. Now inside viewWillAppear, type NSUserDefaults, and then an asterisk, text and then we'll just shorten it to def, def, equals our open square brackets, NSUserDefaults, standard user defaults. Then we need to do another NSString, we'll just call it the text, equals, and then the name of our NSUserDefaults, which is textdef. And then we need to do object for key, and the name of our key, which was my text. We could also do string for key, so let's do that. So we've got NSUserDefaults, asterisk textdef equals NSUserDefaults, standard user defaults, and NSString the text equals textdef, string for key my text. Then we just need to go textfield.text equals the text. Let me explain all this code, starting at the bottom actually. So as the view's closing, or as the application is closing, we're creating an NSString, which is whatever text is in our text field. So say you've entered some text into the text field, this string here now equals that text. So then we're creating an instance of NSUserDefaults, and just an ordinary user defaults. And NSUserDefaults is a file system essentially. It's like saving a document on your computer. So we're just saying NSUserDefaults, so we need to tell it that we're using NSUserDefaults. And then we're just setting in the object, which is our text. So we're setting or saving this object, or this text, for a key. And the key is like the file name. So if you have two keys that are the same, so if I wanted to say the text field's text and another text field's text, and I kept the keys the same, I wouldn't get errors, but each file will just overwrite each other. It's like having two files on your computer with the same name in the same location. So always use a different key for different things that you're storing. Then when the view's opening, so we might have quit the application, then open the application again, we're creating another NSUserDefaults, but this time we're creating it separately because there's no way to do these two lines in one line like we've done down here. And then we're creating another string, and that string is equal to the NSUserDefault, so again we need to access NSUserDefaults, and then we're getting a string from this key, or from this file name. And what's saved at this file name? Well, as we selected when we did view will disappear, the thing at that file name is our text and the text field. So then we've got the text that we've saved here, and then we're just saying the text field's text, let's set it back to the text. The reason we're doing that is because well, otherwise the text field's text would stay the same. So this line here, if you wanted to just save the data and do something else with it, don't bother with this line here or this line here. The actual code to save the data is this line here, and whatever you want to save, put that here, and the file name, put that here. Then to actually restore that data, type this line here, and then depending on what type of data you're saving, in this case I'm doing a string, type the type of data, and then give it a name, and for a string you've got to do an asterisk, remember? And then we just need to say it equals the name of our NSUserDefaults, this line here, and then the type of data, in this case a string, for key, and then the key, or the file name that we set down here. Make sure that this is the same. For example, if I accidentally here put my rext, for example, then I'd just get errors and it wouldn't work. If I wanted to say save an integer, I could just do NSInteger, and then my int equals again the text defaults, and then integer for key, and then the name of the key, which might be my number, or it could still be my text, but I would need to save text then. See here I'm setting the object. If I wanted for an integer, it would actually be set integer. If you're not sure whether to be setting objects or integers or what to set, just try typing set, and then scroll through and see if your type of variable, say you're using a URL or an integer, exists here. If it doesn't, then you probably just need to use set object. Don't worry if you didn't understand that much. Let's just run the application and see if it works. So I'm going to just run the application in the simulator. The one thing about the simulator is when you click stop, it completely pretty much erases all the data from memory. So it's good when you're using NSUserDefaults to actually test it on a real device. So let me enter some text here. I'll just type hello. Now I'm just going to click run again. Now it'll prompt me whether I want to stop it from running, so I do want to stop it. Don't press stop because sometimes iOS doesn't respond well. And as you can see here, it hasn't. This is because of the simulator. What we need to do now is fix up this issue. As I said, the issue with the simulator is when you click stop, it erases everything. It's like deleting the application from your device. So click Run, then once it's running, click Stop, and then go back into the simulator and locate your application. Click on the application, and now you can enter some text. So I'll just type hi again. And now just double click the home button or Command Shift H twice, so Command Shift HH. And then close your application within the simulator as if you were using a real device. Now you can try going back into it and seeing if it's saved. As you can see now, it has saved. So that's one nuance about the simulator that you'll need to get used to. And that wouldn't be a problem. If you were, this code all works. So if you were running this on a real device, you wouldn't have any problems closing the application and running it. And if you're running it on a real device, you can even click the stop and play buttons, and it won't erase all the data. The only time that this data here gets erased is if you actually delete the application. Even if your app is on the App Store and you release an update, and the user updates the application, the NSUserDefaults will still be saved, as the application never actually got deleted. I hope you found this tutorial interesting, and if you've got any questions, and I'm sure with a tutorial like this you will, just comment on this video, or message us directly through YouTube, or through our website, 99centsappdevelopment.com, or even our Facebook page, facebook.com/99centsappdevelopment. I will do later tutorials on how to check what the value of something is, so I might want to save a number of how many times my application has been opened, and then check how many to maybe show I rate my app alert, and all of that sort of stuff, and I will show you how to do those in further tutorials. But if you do have any immediate questions, do feel free to comment or message us, because I'm sure you will have questions. And be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, and see you next time.